I'm Misty Velasky, and this is Ojai Valley News in Depth. Joining us today in the studio is Chef Randy Graham, who you might recognize from the pages of the Ojai Valley News. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Yeah, glad to be here.
Now, you have a new book coming out.
I do. Thank you. It's Ojai Valley Vegetarian Cookbook. It's actually the fourth book I've written and published, but this is the one I'm most proud of. And it's available at Amazon.com or through my blog, Valley Vegetarian.
Mm-hmm. So you've been a vegetarian for a few decades now. Why did you decide to convert?
And for family history, medical reasons. Actually, my dad died at 59 of a massive heart attack, obesity, and cholesterol problems. His dad, I found out, died at 52, the same thing. His mom, my grandmother on my dad's side, died early. Bad history of heart and cholesterol. And I thought, man, if I want to live to see my grandchildren someday, I better change my ways. Mm-hmm. So it was a lifestyle change, and it was really driven mostly by that. To a lesser extent, some philosophical concerns as well. I didn't enjoy hunting or fishing as a kid, so I don't hunt or fish anymore, and that was part of it too. But if you're going to ask me, do I wear leather shoes? Yeah.
But you're a lacto-ovo vegetarian?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
There's a whole, almost a hierarchy of vegetarianism. Lacto-ovo vegetarian means you eat basically everything but meat or fish. Mm-hmm. So lacto, milk, ovo, eggs. So milk, dairy products, egg dishes, and have some very good recipes that are lacto-ovo, but I also have some vegan recipes and gluten-free recipes in the cookbook as well. In fact, the vegan recipes make up half of the recipes in the book. No dairy, no eggs at all, no animal products. So vegan, for example, is part of the vegetarian diet. A vegan not only doesn't eat milk, dairy products, or eggs at all, but not even honey, because honey, for example, is produced by animals. So no animal products for vegans. But there are others that are fruitarians, fruits, nuts, grains, that sort of thing. There are pescatarians. They occasionally eat fish, so maybe not strictly pure vegetarians, but if they see a nice piece of grilled salmon or some ahi tuna at a sushi bar, they'll do that, but they call themselves pescatarians occasionally. And my favorite, which falls into the vegetarian classification, is squeamishtarian.
Okay. What is that? You got to tell us.
It just means I won't eat anything that makes me squeamish. If they see something, to me, okra makes me squeamish. That's one vegetable I won't eat. It's just gross to me. But.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So how do you eat out, and how do you eat at friends' houses? When you have very specific dietary needs, it is a choice. I mean, if you are, if you have dietary needs specific to your health, that's one thing. But if this is sort of a choice for some people, so going over to a friend's house might be a little bit hard to understand.
And I experienced that myself. I gave up all meat and fish in 1975, a long time ago. And my family, even my mom and dad, would say, well, what do we fix you when you come over? And actually, that was when I met my wife, Robin, in 1978. We bought our first house, and that's why we came out with our first cookbook, was just recipes I had developed. And there were, I think, 30 recipes, and went down to like Kinko's and got it Xerox with a spiral-bound cover, and we gave it to family and friends at Christmas time. Christmas of 1978, so they could have us over for dinner. And although my wife eats meat and still eats meat to this day, I don't push my diet on her. We set up a vegetarian household, and therefore people, when they had us over, expected us both to be vegetarian or both to not eat meat or fish. And they were pleasantly surprised that I would pick like pepperoni pizza off a pizza and blot off the grease maybe and eat that, and that was my concession. But they were oh, it's great that Robin eats meat, because then so the cookbook came out as a way to say, hey, if you want to cook vegetarian, you don't have to. Here's some really good vegetarian recipes that I happen to like, and so we had friends, not family as much as friends and coworkers say, hey, that cookbook was great, and I produced 2 more over time as I developed more recipes and stuff. And again, for them to give to their friends that were doing a lifestyle change or becoming vegetarian, or to cook for people that didn't eat meat or fish. Mm-hmm. In 1975-76, when I would travel for the State Department of Education, just out of graduate school, there were very few vegetarian restaurants at all. Really tough. And one of the stories I tell is eating out. I went to a pizza place, Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles, and I can still remember it. I was really hungry, but I just didn't want to get a cheese pizza and a beer. I needed something different. I was tired of people just saying, cheese pizza here, or salad there, or we'll drop you off in the middle of the street and you can graze on the center median, where the grass is growing. And so I told the manager, I said, can you do something? Just some vegetables on my pizza. And he says, no problem. And so he spread the sauce on the pizza, and I ordered large because I was going to get satisfied. And he spread the sauce out, and I saw him take the pizza tray out with the sauce and the bread dough and stuff to the salad bar, and just pick out all of this lettuce.
Oh God!
He baked it for 20 minutes at 400 degrees, brought it to the table, and I smiled because he was trying to be good. But man, that was
baked lettuce.
Worst experience I had from a culinary. Besides maybe some of the disasters I had cooking in the kitchen. But.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to ask you too. Is most of these recipes, I think all of them, you've developed on your own.
Yeah.
So inevitably, you're going to have some disasters in the kitchen. So what's your favorite one?
The favorite story I tell on myself, others will tell other stories on me, but the one I could tell, because it was actually funny. We were first married, and it was probably 1979, 80, and I was trying to, we both worked long hours, and so I would get home and I'd get dinner started, because I still do most of the cooking, if not all of it, and I wanted to impress my young bride and do a really nice dinner for her, and it was winter, and she wanted some soup for dinner. I said, oh man, it's on baked bread, and I had it proofing when I got home. I was able to put that in the oven, and I made a nice salad, and then I put the split peas on the stove, but I put it in a pressure cooker. And I didn't understand that legumes break down pretty quickly. They're not like beans that you need to soak overnight necessarily, and then they still, if you don't cook them right after 2 or 3 hours, can be a little al dente or kind of chewy and stuff. Well, legumes break down real quick, and in a pressure cooker they would break down real quick, and then they clog the top where the pressure relief valve is. And just as my wife, Robin, walked through the door, she hears this.
Oh, no.
And she comes in, and there's split peas. There's a small kitchen all over the walls, all over the ceiling. And she goes, is that what we're having for dinner? It was what we're having for dinner. And so I learned a good lesson then. But my split pea soup still is good to this day. I just cook it on the stove.
Maybe not in the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on the holidays. Yeah. What do you do as a vegetarian when you go to grandma's house and she's pushing turkey in your plate?
Today, everybody understands, and they know that when I come over, I'll eat what I can, what's there, and I say, please don't worry about fixing something special, or I'll maybe make something and bring it, like some vegetarian meatballs, which is a great thing for Thanksgiving, meaty nut loaf, which is ground walnuts, and it's lacto-ovo because I put egg in it, and the meaty nut loaf is like a meatloaf. I mean, you can have it next day for meatloaf sandwiches. It's just vegetarian. So I'll bring something like that. But today I don't worry about it because most people are pretty savvy and have at least heard of vegetarianism and what it means. And I don't have any real special dietary concerns. I luckily can still eat wheat, so I'm not gluten-free, for example. I'm not lactose intolerant, so I can have dairy, love cheese and stuff. So they know that, and they just go crazy and try to please me, which is very flattering.
Sure.
And others actually like vegetarian dishes they serve on the side. But we go to our friends almost every year for Thanksgiving, and they ask me to carve the turkey. I don't know if that's an inside joke because it's a vegetarian, carving the turkey, or just because actually I carve it pretty well. But I'll carve the turkey, but man, if I get grease on my fingers, I have a towel. 'Cause almost reflexively, you want to lick your fingers, and I can't even do that.
So, your book, of course, has the meaty nut loaf. It's got the vegetarian meatballs, all this different stuff, and folks can go into a book signing. You've got 2 coming up, correct?
Yeah, the first one is on Tuesday, November 29th at 11:30 at Hip Vegan Cafe on East Ojai Ave. And the other one's about a week later at the Coffee Connection, just at the other end of town.
I think you were saying December 3rd?
December 3rd, yeah, and that's at 11 o'clock in the morning as well for a couple of hours. And so come out and buy a book, meet the author. I'll sign it if you want, or leave it open if you want to give it as a gift. Buy 2 books. They make great gifts. You can also buy them, the books online, as well as coming to the book signing here locally, which would save postage. But you can go online at Amazon.com and just Google Ojai Valley Vegetarian Cookbook, and it'll pop right up and order it online. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure. It was great talking with you, Misty.
Yeah, good insights.
Thanks.
I'm Misty Velasky. This is Randy Graham. This has been Ojai Valley News in Depth.